Hi y'all, I'm Rhonda from Joy Junktique, and today I wanted to do a little something different. First, I just want to welcome all of you to my channel, and I'm so glad you're here and just so thankful for all your support. But what I want to show you today is these little roses, shabby roses that I've been making. I try to keep some on hand for my projects, but I'm a little low right now, so I thought we would make some and I would just show you how I make them. Whenever I first started making these years and years ago, I watched a lot of videos then and learned from a lot of people, but I honestly can't remember who all I watched and what videos I watched at that time. So I thought I would just get on here and show you how I make them, my little tips and techniques. So but I wanted to show you some of them I already had made up. This one's just out of burlap, and I added a little pearl to the center and a little butterfly. Here's another burlap one. This one was actually some dingy stained burlap, and this was a piece that was not, so you can see the difference in the coloring. But don't throw those pieces away because they make really cute flowers, and you're not going to see the stains once you twist them up into a flower. And then this one is actually made from two pieces of like, I don't know what you call it. One was kind of like a netting material, and another was like a sheer material. And I just layered them and rolled them up just like I'll show you how to do the rest of them. This is a piece of satin, and I left a little piece to look like the leaf. This is just one of the little pearl stickies, and I just glued it in the center. Here's one that was made out of some rusty, some kind of fabric. I'm not even sure what kind of fabric this is, but it had these little burgundy and yellow strings that made this color, so it made a really cute little shabby flower. So here's a little blue one I made from some velvet ribbon. It's really cute. I've got glue all over my hands. I've been crafting today, so I figured while I already had glue on my hands, I would get on here and show you how I make these flowers. But that one turned out really cute. Here's one just made from some linen material. Here's one made out of a little piece of sari silk ribbon. And this one's made out of paper. And that's really fun to do, and you can do so much with the paper ones as far as the colors and shape and all that stuff. So I'm going to show you how to make these. Okay, so I'm going to move these aside while we work on some more. And I have some fabric scraps that I just pulled from my bin. And I thought we would just go from the start and let you see how I make these. So I think I'm going to put me a mat under just to keep the glue off my table. But let's just have some fun. So I guess to begin with, I'm going to start with small. So we'll take this little piece of scrap linen I have. I'm just going to kind of pull these strings, get those off of there. You can cut them. Let's do that so it's not wanting to tear. So I'm just going to trim it up so the strings aren't in my way. And it has a seam on the end, so I'm going to cut that. Well, I may leave that. That may be fine for the center. It may not matter. Okay. So here we have our little piece of fabric, and I'm going to use FabriTac. You're welcome to use hot glue. I'm just not really a big fan of burning my fingers, so I usually just use the FabriTac. And whatever glue you use, just use whatever works for you, but just make sure you have a glue that grabs quick. But we're going to use FabriTac today. So what I do is I just take the end of it, and you can fold it if you want to and glue the center if you want to do that. That would actually make a smaller flower, because the wider your ribbon, the bigger your flower. So if you half it, then it's going to make it a smaller flower. And then also the length the longer, the more rings you can make on it. So what I'm going to do though with this piece is I'm not going to fold it. I'm just going to do it without and see what we get. So every flower is pretty much an experiment, but most of the time they turn out pretty. So what I do is I just take and I fold down that corner into a triangle. Doesn't have to be a perfect triangle, just a triangle. And then I kind of twist it in again. So it kind of starts rolling. You can go ahead and roll it again if you want. But normally I just take and flatten it out, do my triangle, and then I twist it again. So this is what we have so far. So I'm holding it like this, and I'm going to switch my hand like this, and I'm going to take my index finger and I'm going to push that down, and as I do, I'm going to twist it. So we end up with that, and each time you're going to end up with this little triangle in the corner. So then I'm going to twist it again, and there's that triangle again. So as I go, I'm going to get to a spot to where I can glue. Once there's enough of a base, then you can glue. And so I'm just going to keep doing that and twisting and turning. So there's the triangle, and then I'm going to take and twist again. So each time you end up with this little triangle at the top. If you don't, then you can just readjust your fabric and reform it. You can get it back. It's not hurt if you don't see a triangle. That happens to me all the time. So you just have to kind of readjust your fabric. Okay, so I'm going to put another little spot of glue there to hold it. And so you can see how we're already getting this little rosebud. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to keep going. Twist and turn. And then as it gets bigger, I kind of like to hold it like this. Keep that in the center and hold it, and that way it keeps your flower a little bit more steady. So there's that. So I'm going to come under here and I'm going to put a little glue. I like to glue right at the base where that fabric meets the flower. So there we have that. We're going to keep rolling and twisting. I don't know what my dogs see or hear. Probably nothing. The wind's blowing really bad here today, so it's making lots of noise out there. So here we go again. I usually do a couple of times and then I glue. When you first start, sometimes it takes a few more than a couple though, just to get a good base on these little ones. So we're gonna go again. And you can stop whenever you get ready, whenever it's the size you want, and when it looks like you want it to, and cut the end off if you don't want it any longer. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of this fabric so I can show you what I do when I finish. And that's making a really cute little flower. So as I turn, I'm just going to twist it a couple more times and then glue under here. And then I'm going to fold this back. And I think I'm going to trim just a tad off of that. So you end up with this. And then you just fold it down, glue it down where it won't show. Sorry, I'm making lots of noise with those scissors. And I'm on a table that echoes with everything I do. So there's that. And then with this, you can cut it off, but I kind of like to secure it a little better using this. So as long as it's not lumpy. So I'm just going to figure out which way it's going to lay the smoothest. And it's looking like that way is going to be the flattest, you know, out of the way. So I'm going to put some glue under there. Got a little bit too much on that, didn't I? I'll just spread it around. And then I'm going to cut that little tip off so that it's not sticking out the side. So there's that. And sometimes you see how this one ends up with a tiny little middle that sticks up. So when they're like that, a lot of times I don't add anything to the center because they already have a cute little bud in the center. So there's that one. All right, so now let's move on. I have this pink fabric. Actually, let's do this one first. This is another cotton. And if you're just a beginner, sometimes, like if this is the first time you've ever made these flowers, just learning, then sometimes it's easier to use like a cotton fabric that's not slick and not fuzzy, or it's just plain and simple. So, and this one's all wrinkled up, but that's not going to matter because when we start making our flower, we're twisting and turning and folding and bunching, so it really doesn't matter. And for the shabby flowers especially, because you want them to look a little shabby. So I'm going to rip this material because I don't need it that wide, and it's not ripping straight. So I guess I'm going to be ripping it again. All right, let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to rip it where it will straighten up. I may just have to cut it. Let me cut this end off, and then I'm going to try this side and see what happens. That's better. Maybe. It's still a little crooked. That's okay. So let's see. If one end is wider than the other, then start with the one that is narrower, because the center doesn't need as much of a bulk to it. So if your fabric is like crooked, it's okay. See how this one's narrower on this side? And that's fine, because I'm going to start with this one to use for my center. And I think I am going to double this one because it feels thinner to me. So let's just do that. And then I'm going to start twisting. Okay, so did you see that? And if you're a beginner, it might not hurt to glue this if you want to double it, because it does help to keep it in place, especially if it's wrinkled like this one. But I'm just going to wing it. So I'm going to fold that little triangle, and then I'm going to roll it, and I'm going to roll it a couple times with this one because it is thinner down here. It's not as wide. Just kind of, you'll kind of learn what works and what you need as you go. So the more comfortable you get with it, you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's already got a cute little rosebud, and so I'm just gonna keep going. See how cute that is? So I'm gonna try to hold that and put just a spot of glue right here. But sometimes if you don't have a big enough center, then you end up getting glue all over. So, but I feel like I need to go ahead and glue that before it pops open, especially since it's so pretty. Okay, so I'm just gonna twist it and get the glue off my finger and twist it again. That's turning out so cute. And a tiny little spot of glue there. And then we're gonna keep going. So I love just trying different fabrics and seeing, even if they're printed, it's okay because those look cute too. Those are kind of like a country cottage chic, and I like that look too on some stuff. It's just real soft and simple. So there's that, and I'm going to turn it one more time, see if I can get away with one more before I glue. Okay. And that's another good thing about gluing in between, is because if you happen to lose your grip on it, then it's not going to just pop all the way apart. You're just going to lose what you just did, not the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to keep folding it over, twisting it. Let me even this up just a tad. All right. Index finger and twist it down. And each time you twist it down, you want to be able to see it around the edge. So don't go so far under it that you can't see it. You want it right on the edge of it and fold it there. And then that's, you can attach it. And that is a precious little flower. I'm gonna go a couple more and then I'm just gonna cut it, because I kind of like it this size on this fabric. It looks pretty. Made a cute little flower. I think it's supposed to maybe storm tonight, so that's why we're getting such high winds today. Hopefully it won't get too bad. Alright, I'm going to cut it right here. And do one more turn under. And then fold that back. Let me see if I can get under that without messing it up. There. Maybe. And look how cute. I think that's precious. Alright, so it's wanting to go this way, just naturally wants to go that way. So let me trim the end of this off and put a little dab of glue under there. Just always try to get it as flat as you can, because on most projects you don't need it to be really thick. So it helps to keep it as thin as you can so you have something solid to glue to on the bottom. So look how precious. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to keep going with that. Okay. Minor little mishap there. We made it. Okay, so now let's go on and try another with this one. So this time I'm going to try to do it without folding it in half. So I'm going to do my triangle, make a twist, and then fold this down. And let's see the difference in the flower. May not be any, but let's just see. Maybe a little bigger. Okay, I think I can glue now. Let's see. Fabric's twisted. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to keep going. Do a couple more twists. See how it just kind of lays up under there? So pretty. Just kind of fix your fabric if it's getting bunched. And these are really therapeutic. Once you learn how and you get it down, you can just sit and either watch TV or listen to music or watch videos, whatever you like to do, and just make a bunch of flowers. I've made a ton of these over the years. And I even had a friend of mine that she loved to give pretty gifts, and so she would always want to put a burlap flower somehow on the packaging. And so she would always ask me for some burlap flowers, and she ended up moving. So before she left, I just made her this huge basket of burlap flowers so she'd have plenty to do her gifts with. It's turning cute too. So that's turning out a little bit bulkier because it is wider. And I don't think I got it real good and glued under there, but I'll show you that in a minute too. I forgot to show you that when you get done, you go around and kind of check the edges and see if there's any loose spots that you need to glue down. That way they don't come apart. And I think we're done. Let me get it back here. Well, everything's sticking to my fingers. That's all right. I enjoy making these, so just have to clean up my hands really good when I get through. So there's that one. So it turned out bigger than the one we did in half, see? They're both pretty. And that gives you a good variation of sizes too that you can use. So let's do this. Let me see which way. I think it's gonna go this way easier. So let me cut that off. Glue that down. Sometimes you have to hold it just a tad, make sure it stays. Okay, so whenever you get through, just kind of go around the edges, and if you see any spots that do not grab really good or maybe don't have any glue, then just add just a little. You know, you just don't want it to show. You don't want it so much that it oozes out the sides. So I'm gonna put a little bit in there. And that's a cute little flower. And see, these, I mean, you could easily add a pearl in there if you wanted, and it'd be really cute. But sometimes they're pretty without anything too, so we'll leave those alone. All right, now let's go on. This is kind of like I'm not sure what kind of material this is. It's really pretty. It's kind of got a little sheen to it. I know it's not cotton. I'm gonna cut that off because it's a little thick. It's got some kind of design in it too. I'm not sure which side I like better. All right, let's just go with this one. No time to sit and try to make big decisions, right? Just go with it. Okay, let's try. Hopefully I won't stick to this one. Okay, so we folded and twisted. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'll make this one bigger too. I don't know how hard it is for you to see what I'm doing. I hope you can see. Actually, I haven't thought about that. And see, I lost my little triangle. So just kind of work with it till you find it. It's underneath this fold is what it's doing. There we go. So I'm just gonna keep twisting. And then we found it right there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and glue. And it's going to be pretty. Oh, I like that. This material is doing good. And once you kind of work with different fabrics, ooh, that really came out. Once you work with all these fabrics, that whatever you have on hand, you'll kind of find a favorite or find one that works better for you than others. So now I have glue all over my hands again. So you can see what works best and what is easiest for you to handle and go from there on what kind of fabric you use. I just like to try all kinds because you never know what they're going to turn out like until you start twisting. Some make better twists and little rolls, and then others make just a softer look, and so I just like to play with them. And then you can add these to the fronts of your journals. You can add them to different little projects. I've even, on the bigger ones, I've made, like, put a magnet on the back. Sorry about my dog. I've put magnets on the back. Like, once you get it flat, I'll put a magnet and hang a little scripture from it. And that way, when you give them as gifts, they have I might do a tutorial on that one day. But then they have, like, this pretty little flower with a scripture that you can, you know, give as gifts, and they can hang on their icebox. Or, you know, it doesn't have to be a scripture, but it can be like a little note or a sweet little phrase or something like that. So there's just all kinds of things you can do that make them special to give away. Or, you know, like I said, use them on your journals and use them on different little projects that you're working on. They just make a neat little addition to whatever you're making, if you want a rose on it. And even if they may not necessarily look like a rose like you want it to, it's okay, because however you add it to that project, you're going to surround it with stuff that kind of points to the fact that it's a rose. So it's gonna, people figure it out, but they look really cute. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, let me see if I got that right. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this spot and then cut that off. And this one has a cute little tail, so I'm gonna see if I can make that look like a leaf. Sometimes, even this piece, you can twist to make look like a leaf like that. Yeah, see there? All I did is twist it and turn it under. So I'll just use that as a leaf instead. Let me glue that down. If you want a leaf, you don't have to add a leaf, but sometimes it does look cute to have a little leaf sticking out. I don't know what I did. I got it bunched up somehow. There we go. Let me glue under here. There. Okay, so on this one, I'm just gonna cut that off and glue it down because it's already trying to lay down for me. And cut that string. And there's that sweet little rose. Now I'm gonna add a little, let's see if this is too big. I'm going to add that in the center. This glue, I'm going to have to clean up my bottle. So I'm going to kind of tuck it in that little bitty roll there to where it looks natural. And I still need to glue this, don't I? Well, I hope everybody's doing well today. I've had a busy day, but I got some time to video at least and create a little bit. So there's that. Really cute. All right, now let's try another. Let's use this fabric. It's kind of like a shimmery fabric. I'm not sure what it is. It's going to be a little harder to hold, but I just want to show you the different effects you can get. So I'm just going to do it one ply, not folded, and see what happens. We have those edges that are a little, and I might need to, let me just go ahead and rip that off because I'm not liking how it's showing up on there. So I'm going to cut it and then try to rip it. Nope, not gonna work. Okay, so we'll just cut it. So, and this side is thinner, not as wide. So I'm gonna start with this end, and I'm not gonna fold it. I'm just gonna use the one layer. And we're gonna start rolling it, and you'll see how it kind of bunches up a little bit as it rolls, and it makes a really pretty rosebud. It kind of not bunches necessarily, but kind of sticks up a little bit, I guess. Gives it a little more dimension, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So it's going to be a pretty one too. I love this color. Very pretty. Gotta get that glue off. Okay, so there we go. I'm gonna glue. Let's see, that's wanting to turn on me. There we go. That's better. Go ahead and glue. It's making pretty flower. Just gonna keep going while it's wanting to stay. And even if sometimes you get like a double triangle in the corner, that's okay too, as long as it gives you the look that you want. Because you can always fix that on the next turn. See, so it's kind of fixing itself as we go. That little one is not coming out enough. There we go. And I'll have to get some little glue, a little bit of glue in there and secure that spot that popped up on me. And with this fabric, it may be better to use more glue. So, more often, I guess I should say. Just to keep it from popping out. And if that center starts coming out, you can kind of pull it from the bottom. Just be careful doing that or you'll pull your flower apart. So I'll have to kind of adjust that one. So you can see how this fabric is going to be a little bit harder to keep together like I want it. But I may just should have used a little bit more glue around each time. Been a little more consistent with it. But it's making a really cute, pretty color flower. So I'm gonna stop here because it's starting to get kind of tall, and I'll show you what I think, how that happens too. So I'm gonna cut it here. And finish it off. So let me put some glue under here. Kind of got a little different shape on this one, but we can make it work. That's coming unglued. I don't think I put any glue here, that's the problem. So I'm just going to kind of turn it a little bit and twist it a little tighter. And then I'm going to take and pull this back. Okay, so it's got a little bit higher spot there. I don't know that I can find that from the bottom to fix it. Sometimes you can pull it a little bit. That did it. At least it helped a little bit. So that's a little better. It's going to be a little bit different shape because I didn't glue it enough as I went around. But I still think it's really pretty. So I'm gonna see, I think it's going this way. So we'll glue that down. And then I for sure will put a pearl in here, and that will kind of make it look like it is supposed to be like that. And it has the perfect little center for a pearl. So we'll stick that in there like that. And you don't have to use a pearl this big. You could use a smaller one and it'd be cute too. And it might look better with a smaller one actually. So, turned out fine. Because when you look out in nature, no two flowers are alike. Some have more of this kind of a shape on the roses, and some have a more defined shape. Okay, So I have this lace and it comes on a roll. So I thought I'd show you how to make these lace ones. So I'm going to cut us a piece. And what I'm going to do on this one, of course, it is very, very sheer. So you can't really make a flower when it's this thin. So I'm going to double it like that. And then I'm going to take and double it again. And it's still going to be sheer, but it will help a bunch. So I'm going to kind of flatten it like that. So maybe it'll help stay. And then we're just going to take this end and we're going to get busy. And it'll make a really cute little lacy flower. I just wanted to make a few out of different things to show you the different textures, but also just to reinforce how I do it. So the more you see it, the more you'll learn. The easier it'll be to know what to do. I hope I've shown you well enough that you can tell what I'm doing. But it's really not that hard, and they're supposed to be shabby, so they do not have to be perfect at all. I like imperfect because it just, it's more natural. So to me, imperfect is perfect. So I'm going to finish this one off. Got just a little bit left. And then I want to make a satin one, and I wanted to make a paper one too. We'll see. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue under here and try to get me a stopping point. I'll have to cut some of that off because it's not even anymore. And so I'm just going to pull it back like that. Alrighty. I'm going to have to stop and clean my fingers so I can keep going. So let me glue this down, and it's wanting to lay right there. So it's all sticking to my fingers. Yep, I gotta stop and go clean my fingers, especially before I do a satin one. So that's really cute. And I'm gonna take and find a little pearl center. Let's go with this one, just to give it a little depth. Make it stand out a little bit. So there's that one. And if you'll try to like push them down in that little hole that's kind of in there from starting it, then it stays better. All right, let's make a satin one really quick. So I've got this really pretty piece of satin. It'll kind of be like this one when we're done. I couldn't get all the glue off my hands. I don't think I'm ever going to get all the glue off my hands, but we will have a lot of pretty roses. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. There's my triangle. There's my twist. I don't like how that's looking. Let me start again. Okay, so let's do that. And then twist it this way. It's moving on me. It is slicky, that's for sure. I'll have to cut those little strings out whenever we get through. Well, that came out easy. We'll just pull it. And then See if I can get it to twist again. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get this glued at the bottom because I do not want that to come apart. All right. Keep going. Sometimes when I think about it too much, I end up not doing it as good. So I'm trying to just go with it. Yeah, that's going to be cute. And I'm sorry if I'm quiet, it's because I'm concentrating. My little brain can't handle too much at one time. My granny was so cute. She would always say, "My little pea brain." And I just always think about her whenever I think about me not being able to focus on more than one thing at a time. She was so cute. Okay, I got this twisted somehow. There we go. So if I'm quiet, it's just because I am really concentrating. I don't mean to be quiet, but... And then sometimes you can't shut me up. But that's okay. Makes life exciting, I guess. I like when the little strings kind of pop out in places. Just kind of makes it look really shabby, but still elegant. That's what I like about the satin. It makes a pretty little elegant flower. And you can do the same thing. You don't have to have like the strip of ribbon. You can use a whole like roll of satin ribbon in whatever color you want. And I'm sorry, my fingers look so bad right now. Okay, so I made some bouquets for a wedding, and I had to make them with the satin ribbon, and they turned out really pretty. They turned out really flat. I don't know if it was more the ribbon or if it was just more my technique at that time, but they turned out so pretty. And it was so funny. I had to make so many because I had to do all the boutonnieres and all the mother's flowers, everything, the bridesmaids. And so I had to take those flowers with me everywhere I went. So if I had an errand at the bank, I'd be sitting there while I waited, making roses, bringing my little glue and my little satin ribbon. And then, you know, if I had a few minutes at work, I'd be pulling out making some roses. So I made roses forever. But it all turned out so pretty. And that was like an adventure for me. I had never made a bouquet before, but it turned out good. Never thought I could make a bouquet, but I just had to buckle down and learn. So that's cute. I like that. Okay, and let's see. I think I got glue all over that one. Let me see if I can bunch it up under there and hide that. And leave a little bit out for the leaf. I gotta get some of this off my fingers or I'm gonna put more on it. So let's see if I can just kind of tuck it up under there. And twist it a little bit to make it stick out. Let me trim those little strings. And there's another cute little satin flower. And you can add a center if you want, or you can leave it like it is. Okay, before I finish, I want to show you how I make the paper flowers. I just rip a strip of paper and hold your ears. I'll probably mute the video right here because it gets so loud. You can uncover. I always like to just wad them up because it makes it fold easier whenever you're doing your twists and your turns. So I just take a strip of paper and I wad it up, and then I undo it, and then I fold it in half. And that just gives you a little bit of texture to it for one thing, but it also helps it to bend and fold and twist. Okay, so I'm doing my triangle, and then I'm twisting. And then I'm gonna take my index finger, and it's gonna be a little harder because it is paper, but I'm gonna twist it. Let's see, twist it like that. And there's your triangle. And then I'm gonna twist it again. You're starting to get the little center. So let's go ahead and glue here just so it doesn't jump out on us. And then twist it. Okay. And twist and turn. So that's looking cute. Glue it. Alright, and then I'm going to fold it. Do my little turn. And with paper, it is kind of more of a fold than a twist, but that's what it's looking like. So keep doing that on the edges there. Just like the others, it's just a little stiffer. So then we're going to keep doing a few more. And it just starts making the outer edges of it. Do a couple more, and then I'll cut that off. That's kind of cute. Looks like a rose. A crumply rose, but it's a rose. Alright, and then I'm going to fold that back. And then bend this back. So you put a little glue under here. The glue's all messy again. Doesn't take it long when you're making this stuff to kind of get bunched up all over it. So there's the cute little rose. And then what I like to do, okay, so I like to take and ink the edges on it, and it just gives it a little bit more character and adds some color and dimension to it. So I just take and I'm just using my pink so you can see good, and I just go around with it, just kind of adding color here and there wherever it naturally sticks to. So there's that. And then I kind of like to come back with my a little bit darker, I think this is gathered twigs, and just barely give some detail to the edges. Make it kind of grungy a little bit and kind of makes it stand out a little bit, defines those edges. So there's that. I got it a little bit dark in the center, but it looks cute. So then you can take and you can kind of separate this part in here or flatten it out a little bit and put you a pearl in there, kind of like that. Let me see if I can find a pearl that'll fit in there. So I'm just going to use this little white one. Just put a tiny little dot of glue. Don't want too much with these tiny ones. Get my glue off of there. It's stringing everywhere. And then put it right down in that glue. Right down in the glue. And that's a sweet little grungy paper flower. Super simple to make. I like making these and adding them to the little shabby paper bag journals and stuff. They just look really cute. There's so many uses you can do for them. And the paper works good because, I mean, you can use printed paper, you can use, you know, just coffee dyed paper. You can find all kinds of scraps that you can use. And then if you want to, you can do like I did and just kind of color them up if they don't have color. And you can also shape them because the paper's going to bend and move if you don't like the shape of it. So that just adds a lot of possibilities to your flowers. So there's that. And then if you don't have anything, any leaves, because you can buy leaves for these, or you can, you know, make them with the little ends that are left. At least on the fabric ones you can. The paper ones you could do that too if you shaped it right. But just take a little piece of scrap fabric. Let me see if I can find one. Just a second. So you can add leaves to these. You can add little pearl sprays to these. They just turn out really cute. So if you wanted to, you could just take like a really simple little piece of whatever scrap fabric. And what I do is just kind of twist it. And, you know, you may have to do it a couple of times. But when you twist it, then you get a cute little leaf. And then just glue it to the bottom like that. And you have a sweet little leaf attached. So, you know, just use up all those little scraps and strips of paper and strips of fabric. And then for the centers, you can use buttons. You can use the pearls. There's so many options. So just use what you have and have fun with it. And these can be used in so many ways on your projects. So just, you know, I love them. I love making these little scrappy fabric roses. They just add so much to your projects. Make it really cute. So there's all those. Got a bunch. Still need to make some more. But just experiment and have fun with that. And I hope that I've been able to show you how without being too confusing. But if you have any questions at all, just be sure to put them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. So y'all just have an awesome day and know how much I appreciate you and how much I love you. And I will see you soon in the next video. God bless. Bye.